I've now launched a game on Steam. Take a life tile. Look it up, Zoomers. So, has Atoms in Time become a success? So, bottom lines first, Atoms in Time made like $100. Once you factor in lost wages from the fact that I worked on it full time, I obviously did not make bank. But to me, that's the boring result. I want to examine the data I have here and see if I can answer some other questions about the project I've spent so much time on. Question: did people think the game is good? There's two parts to this. First, did the game look good to people who hadn't bought it yet? Second, did the people who had actually bought it and played it like it? What really shocked me, in a positive way, was that at time of writing, 12,000 people viewed this Steam page. That's not the people who saw it in a list, that's people who clicked on it and looked at the page. How many people actually wishlisted? About 100. That doesn't seem good to me. I mean, I look at games all the time and decide I'm not interested, but 99.1% of the time? I don't know what the average rate is, but I think this is a sign that my Steam page sucks. And I'm happy to know. Honestly, it's inspiring to know that every day you wait to make your page better, someone might come by who would have loved your game and will never understand how good of a game it really is. Now, that assumes there's a good game to show, of course. Maybe this is actually a great Steam page, in that it very accurately shows people just how much my game sucks and why you shouldn't try playing it. So, what about the game itself? Did people like it? Well, it sure would be nice if I had more reviews, but when you factor in how many people got it, 10% of the people who got the game already left reviews. I really doubt AAA games can boast that. Still, I think I'm going to go need to look for some other sources of data. Okay, what about the old hour of content per dollar spent rule? I don't really believe in that rule at face value, but I think there's some wisdom in saying that if someone doesn't like playing your game, they'll stop. My median time played is 45 minutes. That seems like kind of a long time for a rage quit, but I definitely have games in my Steam library that I played a lot more than that and did not like. But then again, if one person plays it for like 3 more hours in the future, maybe that'll bump up the median a bit. And I mean, why are people putting up community posts if nobody cares about this game? Question: am I overthinking this? At this point, I might have moved away from making meaningful business decisions to overanalyzing my crush's texts. Frankly, if I'm just trying to make money, converting page views over to buys is probably more important than people actually liking the game after they play it. But frankly, we already established I'm not making any money. Question: so why am I doing this? I'd be lying if I said I didn't want the game to sell. If I had been gathering a big ball of wish lists last year, you probably would have seen a different tone from my videos, and maybe it would have pushed back the release date another year and made a really big game and sold it for $20 and all that jazz. Instead, I had data that told me it was time to land the plane gracefully and put something out there. I briefly considered moving on to a game 2, but I didn't think it was worthwhile. At least not full-time. So here I am, down a whole lot of money from where I could be, and yet not miserable. What gives? Question: did I prove what I wanted to about AutoEvo? Thanks to the environment sliders, I think it's pretty easy to prove that species do adapt to the environment, although that's more true for plants than animals. It also can make a bunch of different species, and runs pretty fast. But that in itself isn't very impressive. If you run my arch rival, the sapling, on super fast evolution mode, you can get a lot of species pretty fast. My claim is that my species are more logical fits for their environment, but I don't know if I can prove that, or if anyone cares. I also feel like the real strength of this algorithm would have depended on more complex simulations that just aren't there yet. Factoring in everything where I paid somebody else money, I spent about $500 on this game. As academic research or a long vacation, that's stupid cheap. So all we have to do is say I wanted to make this game instead of doing whatever other job, and now I went from making really bad money choices to really good money choices, right? So if this is a business, I failed and should wrap things up. Maybe with a better Steam trailer. I still haven't been able to fix that one bug that's been reported to me, which infuriates me to no end, but other than that, I don't think anyone's going to feel scammed if a $6 game doesn't get frequent updates. If it's a vacation, I had a great time, and you guys helped, thanks. And I should also walk away, maybe make the game free on principle. I still like game development, but after 6-ish months on this, I'm not particularly passionate to keep working on this game. Maybe after another month away I would be. If it's a research project, it's fundamentally not done. I don't think anyone looks at what I've got so far and says, clearly we've pushed the limits of technology here, or, well, turned out that didn't work. So, that's 2 votes for move on with your life, and 1 vote for work on it only as an academic project. Maybe it was all a little fast. A lot of YouTuber game dev hybrids seem to work on these things for years, so maybe I just didn't give this game the time to flourish into what it could be. I picked my timeline based on how much of my own life I wanted to give away to this, and not based on what the game needed. But frankly, I think I'd rather have a good life and a bad game than vice versa. So expect more updates. I already have some of those features coded, just don't expect a certain timeline for those updates. If this project taught me one thing, it is just how freaking long it takes to make a whole new game from scratch, which has managed to keep me from getting distracted onto my next silly game idea. I'd rather just keep updating this one than do all this again. And that's that. That's the half-finished data I have for you to use for whatever you wish. I was sitting on a half-written script for this video for a while, but I realized I should probably just send out whatever I have, because at the end of the day, I did not nail the process, so if you want to learn how to release your own game on Steam, you'll have to learn how to not do what I did. Some of it, but not all of it. I don't know. Good luck.